This video was commissioned by my gold FLUFFBUTT patron, Drew Lazinski. Do you want to commission your very own video? Then become a gold patron today. Path to Peace, an MLP G5 fanfiction, sequel to In the Dark of the Night. Written by FlameWarrior02. Chapter 3, Moments of Reflection. Now then, Zipp, tell me, what's been troubling you? Dr. Yui Minifu asked as she sat down on her chair. Zipp looked hesitant, still having reserves about sharing such private things with a stranger, no matter how much Sunny vouched for her. Pip sensed her sister's worries and placed a hoof over her own. "It's okay, Zipp, I'm here," she assured with a smile. Yeah, the sisterly love, gotta love it. Having Pip with her eased Zipp's concerns, and she smiled back. She then sighed and looked at the therapist. "Honestly, there's been so much crap going on that I don't even know what to say or how to say it," she answered the question. "Perhaps at where it started would be good?" Our therapists always say that, they want to get the whole story. Yui Minifu suggested. "That doesn't exactly help narrow it down for me," Zipp replied before asking, "Don't you already know why I'm here?" "If you mean specifically why, then no. Sunny only told me that you were in need of help and I volunteered to assist in your recovery to the best of my powers," the therapist explained. "Other than that, I know nothing of your story and only request for a brief summary, assuming that isn't too much to currently ask for." "It's not," Zipp said as she decided on a starting point. "I'd say it all started when I got my hoofs in our friend Misty's necklace. I have always had my suspicions of her, and I was certain that necklace she was always wearing had something to do with it. So when she took it off for whatever reason, I stole it and brought it back into the Bright House to investigate it. Like an idiot, I decided to get my friends involved." "Zipp," Pip said softly. "It's the truth, Pip," Zipp countered. "I knew there was something up with that necklace, and I decided to just lay it on a table in front of all of you instead of working in private like a proper detective should." She scolded herself before she continued the story. "The necklace turned out to be full of dark magic that ended up taking possession of all of us, making all of my friends into corrupted opposites of themselves." Zipp frowned at what her sister said. She still considered what happened to as her true self being revealed, not her corrupted self. Well, you know, Pip as a metal rock star, that's not particularly evil or corrupted. I'd say that's a bit of an improvement. Yui Minifu wrote down this information before asking one of the biggest questions. "And what about you? I can only assume the dark magic did something to you as well." Zipp looked down in shame, already knowing the therapist her answer before she responded. "That is correct. Could you tell me what it was like?" Oh, now this is definitely going to trigger her. "Could you tell me what it was like under the influence of that magic?" Yui Minifu carefully asked. She could tell this was really uncomfortable territory for the Pegasus, but she had to travel in if they were to make any kind of progress. As expected, Zipp hesitated greatly in her response. I... Seeing her distress, Pip gave her sister a hug. "It's okay, Zipp. I'm right here," she assured her sister, not just because of Zipp reliving unpleasant memories, but also that she wouldn't judge her no matter what she said. This comfort helped ease Zipp slightly, but not by much. Having Pip hear what she was about to say, or rather what she knew would be connected to what she says, was the biggest thing holding her back. And from how Dr. Yui Minifu was watching them, it seemed she picked up on the same idea. "Miss Petals, would it be too much to ask you to step outside for a bit?" she requested of Pip. Pip was taken aback by this suggestion. "Excuse me? You just said I could be here, and now you're kicking me out?" "Please understand that this is all in Zipp's best interests." Yui Minifu tried to reason with the princess. This only upset Pip even further as she got up from the couch and walked over angrily to the therapist. "Don't tell me what's in Zipp's best interests! I'm her sister, and I'm not leaving her just after I got her back in my life!" she yelled. Zipp began to feel really uncomfortable at the signs of an argument starting between Pip and Yui Minifu, especially when she was the reason for it happening. Oh my god, I feel so bad for Zipp right now. This must be torture in her brain. She was also feeling guilty for giving Pip the implication that she wasn't comfortable sharing personal information with her. She was her own sister, for Hofner's sake. If there was any shoulder she could expect to lean on when she needed it, it should be hers. With a sigh, she said one word that stopped the argument between the two other mares. Freedom. This got Pip and Yui Minifu to forget what they were disagreeing about and look at Zipp in confusion. Huh? They said simultaneously before returning to their seats. Explain what you mean by freedom, Yui Minifu requested. Of all the feelings she expected Zipp to say she experienced under the necklace's influence, freedom was not one of them. If anything, she expected the opposite. Zipp gave another sigh and looked at Pip, who looked back at her older sister with concern and confusion. She had always wanted to keep a lot of this secret from her sister, from every pony honestly. But, like almost everything in her life, it was too good to last forever. Looking down at her hooves, Zipp began to explain what she meant. Being the heir to the throne has always been stressful for me. Mum would often scold me for sneaking off to do stunts or research flight, or frankly anything that wasn't what she wanted, saying that it wasn't how a queen should act. And as I got older, the more I hated the idea of being the future queen. It felt like I wasn't allowed to ever be myself, instead of being the pony others wanted me to be as. Even after moving to Maritime Bay and having Mum become more accepting of who I am, the feeling still doesn't go away. It often returns like shackles weighing me down. The thought of how every pony is going to be looking to me for answers. How I have to be perfect in every way. Not once allowing even the smallest mistake to happen. It all builds up to the point I'm honestly surprised I haven't had a heart attack or something similar by now. She joked with a crude laugh before continuing. So when I got infected with the necklace's dark magic, instead of feeling trapped within my own mind, it instead felt like a huge wave of relief washed over me. It was the first time I was accepting my position as the heir, yet still feeling like my own self. It was as if the shackles holding me down had been cut and I was free. It was the most exhilarating feeling since magic returned, and I could fly for real, that I didn't even care at all for what I was saying or doing. I see, Yui Minifu said as she wrote this information down. Pip was shocked to hear what Zipp was saying. She knew that her big sister always seemed to hate her princess title, hence why she gave herself the nickname in the first place so she wouldn't be reminded of her destiny with her full name, but she didn't expect it to affect her this much. Yeah, I can honestly see where Zipp is coming from, because being held back in isolation for many years, and to finally have this freedom with the magic and with the dark magic, rather than corrupting her, it would influence her in a more disgusting way. She honestly felt like she had been selfish now for worrying so much about her own perfection when Zipp had it worse than she ever would. Yep, that's a good point. So, when Misty came in and saved us, I initially thought that was the end of it, and assumed it was just me acting the opposite of myself like the rest of my friends. Zipp paused to sniffle as she felt tears of shame form in her eyes. Oh no, don't be like that, girl. But I was wrong. I was very wrong. I wasn't made into the opposite of myself. Instead, I showed the real me that day, and she was intended to stay. Zipp, that's not true. Pip tried to convince her otherwise, but Zipp shook her head. No, Pip, it is the truth. Why else is it that I'm the only one suffering from after effects of that day? I told you before, nothing that came into my head wasn't something I haven't considered before. After effects? Yui Minifu said with interest. Care to elaborate? Zipp nodded and did exactly that. In the days after the event, I would be trying to recapture that feeling of being in control of my life again in many ways. All of which were horrible. I tried to block the urges out, but they just kept coming back, and I would find myself nearly forcing myself onto it. Oh yeah. Oh, don't remind me of that chapter. Oh god, that gave me the ickies. or trying to take the magic from the crystals, she said before pausing, almost afraid to mention the next part. Yui Minifu noticed the pause in the story and looked at her patient. Zipp, if you wish to stop and continue this another day, there is no problem in that, she assured the distraught Pegasus. Knowing what was coming up in the story, Pip found herself agreeing with the therapist as she got into her hooves and lightly tugged at her big sisters. Come on, Zipp, I think that's enough for today. No, Zipp retorted with a sniffle. I can do this, she said before resuming the story. Despite my efforts, I kept finding myself turning to the darkness just so I'd feel comfortable with myself. And then one night, it all reached this peak. I tried to kill Pip! Zipp shouted as she started to cry in shame with herself. I stupidly kept telling myself that since Pip is Mum's favourite, that she'd take over as heir to the throne. And with all the power I've been foolishly allowing myself to feel, I actually believed it. So I went over to her bed and was about to strangle her to death. You really need to stop crying because you're making me dizzy. It was only then that I finally realised in full the pony I had become. I was disgusted with myself. How could I become myself this torrent? How could I do this to my friends and family? And when I realised that they'd soon notice and approach me to ask what was wrong, I knew I had to get away from them. But it was more than that. I wanted myself to suffer. To feel the pain that I was going to inflict on those I loved just because I thought I was above them. I trapped myself in a cave and waited for the slow and agonizing end. Oh yeah, remember when she clipped her wings as well? Oh no, I don't want to be reminded of those dark days. They really did shatter my heart inside. The only reason I'm still here now is because I chose a terrible hiding place in my panic, and my friends found me and rescued me, convincing me to try again, and here we are. Zipp finished her story with tears in her eyes. This feeling of punishing yourself, has it ever gotten to the point of you considering or even trying to take your own life? Oh shit. Well, that kind of did happen almost with the wings. Yui Minifu asked the question she was always cautious of asking the most with any client. Surprisingly, Zipp shook her head. Maybe in the past when it was just stress and fear weighing me down, if only for brief moments before they were pushed aside. But now, with what I have done, I find myself wanting to drag out my punishment for as long as possible, she admitted. She wasn't the only one crying, as Pip also had tears now coming out of her eyes. Oh my god, oh, this is painful. Zipp, she said quietly. Why did you never tell me any of what you were feeling before? Like I said, I didn't. Zipp was interrupted by Pip now, sounding almost angry with her. I don't mean that. I mean, why would you not tell me about how much being heir stressed you out? Zipp winced at the shouting and made Pip realise the mistake she made. I'm so sorry, Zipp. I didn't mean to shout. I guess I'm just upset with myself for not noticing this any sooner. Pip said as she sat next to her sister and hugged her tightly. I really care about you. You know that. I know, Zipp said with a soft smile. I just wish I truly knew that years ago. Huh? You never noticed anything wrong with me because I always kept it hidden from every pony. This is the first time I said any of this out loud to some pony beside myself, Zipp said. Why? Pip asked. With another long sigh, Zipp explained herself. As a filly, I always felt like I wasn't being listened to by Mum, and I expected the same of you since you were always closest to her. Hence why I kept saying you're her favourite, and as I got older, I guess I just didn't want to come up as a whiny diva princess that wasn't happy with her life. It's not like I can do anything to change my destiny. One way or another, I will become queen and have to rule over Several Heights. Complaining about it is just pointless. Zipp, that doesn't mean you should keep these concerns of yours all bottled up, Pip told her. I agree, Yui Minifu said. There's nothing wrong with admitting something is bothering you to those who care about you. Keeping all of this bottled up within yourself is unhealthy and can have major consequences down the line. I understand, Zipp nodded, taking in what she was told. Good, Yui Minifu said as she finished writing down her report. I believe you have been kept in here for too long. You're free to go, she said as she got up and opened the door for the two sisters to leave. Thank you, Doctor, Zipp said as she got to her feet with the feet being confused with hoofs. This is not Equestria Girls right now, writer. Get it together! Zipp said as she got to her hoofs with Pip at her side, a wing draped over her. Think nothing of it, sweetie. My door is always open, she said as the two of them left. Once they were out of the building and on their way to the Bright House, Pip decided to say one last thing that had been eating her up. Zipp, I'm sorry. Huh? The White Pegasus looked at her sister in confusion. What for? She asked. Even if you were deliberately trying to hide your stress and worries from me, I still should have noticed. But I was so wrapped up in my own things, thinking about how much harder I have it than you with everything, that I never took the time to really consider my pressure you would be under. I'm a celebrity pop star princess. I have much work to do with organizing songs and dance routines to please my fans, but none of that should have compared to being Queen of Zephyr Heights, and all you have to do is training for that. I'm sorry that it took me you nearly killing yourself to finally realize that. Hey, Zipp said with a soft smile as she pulled Pip into a wing hug. Like I said, I was keeping all of this from you and Mum. Neither of you would have noticed no matter how much you looked. I guess I was just spiteful of how things were going so perfectly for you two that I didn't trust you with my own problems. Well, I hope you know now you can, Zipp. Mum loves you as much as she loves me, not just because of you being her successor, but because of the daughter you've grown up into. Oh my god, that's so sweet! Oh my god, Pip, you are escalating in the character development department here. Please, don't think that you're not important to us all besides being the future. You mean the world to us both. Despite still having some reservations with what Pip said, Zipp nodded. Yeah, I think I can start doing that now. Chapter 4. Mare in the Mirror. Here you go, Zipp! Sunny said with a smile as she handed the smoothie to her Pegasus friend. A brand new smoothie just for you. Thanks, Sunny, Zipp said as she took the drink and looked at it. So, what flavor is it? She asked. I'd tell you, but I want you to figure it out for yourself first, Sunny replied. Ooh, a mystery, Zipp said teasingly as she took a sip. After taking a moment to swish it around in her mouth, getting a good taste, she swallowed and gave her answer. Tastes like peanut butter and banana with a hint of... Is that chocolate? She asked with hopeful eyes. Yep, Sunny beamed in response. A new type of smoothie I made just for you. Aw, Sunny, you didn't have to, Zipp said bashfully as she started gulping down the contents of her cup. I know, but you're my friend and I'm always looking for new ways to make every pony's day better, Sunny replied. The two of them shared a laugh before Zipp went back to her smoothie. As she drank, her ears twitched when she heard ponies walking behind her. While that normally wouldn't get her attention, what she overheard them saying did. Look at that poor mare, one of them whispered. She'll be fine, a Pegasus assured them. The feathers will soon grow back. Still, makes you wonder what happened to make her lose all her feathers like that, a third pony said before they trotted out of earsight. Despite them whispering their conversation, Zipp still heard everything they said, and that brought her down the mood. The Pegasus looked at her wings, the flight feathers just now starting to grow back, and sighed. Well, at least, Zipp, that's some sort of progress, so you can be somewhat comfortable at that. Don't let the whisperings get to you. Sunny noticed her friend's saddening look and exited the cart to wrap her hoof around her. Are you okay? She asked her. Zipp sighed again before answering. Look at me, Sunny. A Pegasus that clipped her own wings. A pony so broken she spent the past week doing nothing but moping and starving herself. I couldn't even leave the Bright House until yesterday. Zipp, Sunny said, wanting her friend to stop this self-loathing rant. All of it because I am afraid of myself and the pony I could very much become. Zipp finished before she looked the earth pony in the eyes. How did you do it, Sonny? Huh? The orange mare blinked in confusion. How did I do what? How do you handle being the alicorn? Zipp asked again. You're the most powerful pony in Equestria with all that magic. How is it you're not a mess like I am? You told yourself that you've had intrusive thoughts before. How do you stop them from ruining your life? She asked almost pleadingly as she looked into Sonny's eyes, begging for an answer. Sonny didn't reply, at least not immediately. This was a question she had to answer carefully and not just spit out the first answer that comes to mind. Why was she the lucky one and didn't have corrupted and unwelcome thoughts popping into her head that drove her to panic and nearly banish herself from the friends forever? It wasn't like she never thought about how powerful it was to be the alicorn. Like she said in the cave, there was a time she was considering replacing Haven as Queen of Zephyr Heights, but she quickly shook those feelings away when she told herself it would mean for Zipp and Pip, really all of the Pegasi, if she did that. To Sonny, her friends were her power. Oh, friendship is power, eh? Sonny, don't you dare get intrusive thoughts from Cozy Glow.
Friendship is power.
She constantly told herself that the pony she was currently was the one her friends wanted and deserved. They didn't want Alicorn Sonny, they just wanted Sonny Starscout, their friend. That was what she told herself in the mirror every morning. Oh wow, Sonny, how boastful do you have to be?
I am not the Alicorn today. I'm gonna be just me, Sonny Starscout, the Earth Pony, not the Alicorn.
Mirror, Sonny thought as an idea came to her. That's it! The orange mare quickly went back into the cart and grabbed her alicorn mirror. Oh, wait. Oh no, don't do that. Opening it up, she placed it on the stand and turned it so it was facing Zipp. Tell me, Zipp, what do you see in the mirror? Myself, Zipp answered dryly, not understanding where Sonny was going with this and how it answered her question. I mean, what kind of pony do you see? Understanding what her friend meant now, Zipp looked more in depth at her reflection. I see a pony that's a sad, pathetic excuse of themselves. Okay, Sonny said. Not exactly what I wanted to hear, she thought to herself before asking. Anything else? What else is there? Zipp responded. I just see myself with the complete unstable mess I am. Try looking deeper, Sonny suggested as she gently pushed the mirror towards her friend. Oh my god, imagine how much Opaline is getting. It's like, I swear to god, if Opaline makes an appearance in this fanfic, or at least her dark magic again, she's learning so much right now. She could use Zipp's vulnerability to her advantage. Shit! Despite not believing it would make any difference, Zipp complied at looking more at her reflection. Still, the same useless, broken mare as before. It wasn't going to change no matter how much she stared at the mirror. However, that soon began to change as Zipp in the mirror began to change. Oh no! The Pegasus's eyes widened as her reflection morphed into one she was all too familiar with. Fuck off, Opaline! One with a tiara that she was sure to destroy, blood red eyes and an unnerving smile. Fuck off! No, I don't want to be reminded of this. No! Zipp suddenly exclaimed as she punched the mirror away before backing up in fear. No! She whimpered as she backed herself against the near building. Zipp! Sonny exclaimed as she ran over to her friend's side to comfort her while the white mare curled herself up. Zipp, what did you see? Her, was all the Pegasus could say in response. Her? Sonny said in confusion before slowly putting the pieces together based on Zipp's previous behavior. You mean the evil you? Zipp nodded in response. No matter what I do, she just keeps appearing. I don't know how to make her go away. She paused to sniffle. I don't know if I can. Of course you can, Sonny exclaimed, slightly startling her friend at the sudden enthusiasm. Do you know why? She asked before she stood back up and held back onto her own hoofs. Because you are stronger than her. You are above her. You are not the same pony as her, and you will never be her. Sonny went back to grab her mirror before opening it up in front of Zipp again. Stop it, Sonny! You're only encouraging this atrocious behavior. It made the Pegasus recoil seeing her reflection again, but the Earth Pony mare knew she had to say this. "Say it!" she told her friend. "What? What I just told you. Say it to your reflection," Sunny said. Zipp looked at her reflection, wincing at seeing herself like that, and she half-heartedly said, "I'm stronger than you." "Louder," Sunny urged. "I'm stronger than you." "Louder!" I'm sorry, but this is kind of comedic. It's emotional as heck, but the constant enthusiasm and optimism from Sunny is so hilarious that I can't find it positively bizarre in some way. "Louder! I'm stronger than you! Say it like you mean it! I'm stronger than you! So everybody can hear it!" Okay, I need to gurgle a bit because goddamn my throat is dry. "I'm stronger than you! Look at you in the eyes and tell it to her directly!" Zipp looked at her reflection dead in the eyes with a serious look on her face, and her wings fled. "I am stronger than you! I am above you! I am not the same pony as you! I will never be you!" She yelled at her reflection, just barely resisting the urge to smack the mirror away again in her adrenaline. You know what, Zipp? Just smash the mirror apart. It would serve Sunny well. "Now tell me, who do you see?" Sunny excitedly asked, thinking her plan was working. Zipp looked at her reflection closer this time and saw it morph back into her own. Only this time, it showed her differently. Oh, what's different this time? "I see a pony who is strong," she told Sunny. "Yes, and I see a pony who is confident." "What do you see?" Sunny asked. "I see myself!" Yay! That is good news. I am just cheering you. I could literally hold up a sign from my bedroom window and say, "Yeah, my girl!" Zipp shouted with pride. Sunny shouted with glee as she dropped the mirror and went up to hug her friend. "I'm so proud of you, Zipp!" "Thanks, Sunny," Zipp said back with a smile. They stayed like that for a minute or two before Sunny broke the hug. "Just remember to tell yourself what I told you the next time you see that evil you, and keep on saying it until she goes away. Can you do that?" "Yeah, I think I can." But what neither of the mares knew was that the mirror was open and facing towards them as they spoke. "Oh, fuck off, Opaline. I knew you were going to make an appearance." And on the other side was Opaline, watching the entire scene playing out. "How interesting," she said as she cut off the magic feed. "Seems our little princess was affected by that necklace more than I thought." This was the first the Alicorn had heard of Zipp's condition, and from seeing the state the Pegasus was in, she was delighted at this news. "Oh, how wonderful! For me," she said aloud. Opaline wasn't a fool. Despite what it looked like, she knew Zipp was far from better. The state of her wings was proof enough of that. It would take her time for her to find her footing again, if at all. She had little doubt that any of Zipp's friends truly knew how to handle her OCD condition. With that annoying little detective picking up the pieces of her pathetic self, that'll leave me without any ponies sticking their noses into my business and getting in the way of my plans, allowing me to continue my schemes unopposed until the time is right to attack," Opaline said as she looked at a photograph of Zipp before setting it on fire. Oh, shit! "Be prepared, princess. Be prepared," she said to the burning photo before laughing evilly. Chapter 5. A Mother's Love. There comes a time in every pony's lives when they must question their actions. Some will take responsibility and face the consequences for their actions, be they good or bad. Others will try and lie their way out through excuses, but some actions cannot be forgiven. Oh no, what's gonna happen now? What does this dialogue mean? You tried to kill your own sister? Queen Haven shouted from her throne. Oh no, now her mother knows. Zipp said nothing and just looked down in shame. That was all the confirmation Haven needed. Mother, please! Give her a chance to explain! Pip begged from the sides, not able to watch her sister standing trial. What? Zipp's suddenly on trial? They're in court? Oh no! Silence! Haven yelled in her queen voice, letting Pip know there was no room for argument before turning back to Zipp. I thought I had raised you to be better than this, Severina, but it seems I have failed as a mother, and now you must be rightfully punished. Pip and her friends looked on in horror as the other ponies in the crowd began shouting over one another at Zipp. We don't want you! Put her on trial! Judgment Day is here! Judgment! Your judgment! Yes! Your day is exile! Oh gosh, this is already a drama nutshell. No! Pip screamed with complete distraught on her face. And that's when the dream ended. Oh, for God's sake, that was a dream! Oh, I really wanted that to be an actual scene. I was actually getting into that! Zipp finished recounting her story to Dr. Yui Minifu. I see, the doctor said as she wrote down the details shared. Sitting directly next to her, Pip wrapped a wing around Zipp and pulled her into a hug. Zipp, she said quietly. I made a promise to never abandon you again, Pip, but now I'm realizing that if Mum were to find out what I almost did to you... Zipp couldn't bring herself to finish the sentence. Zipp, Mum wouldn't just put you on trial without giving you a chance to explain yourself, Pip assured her sister. Your sister brings up a good point, Dr. Yui Minifu interjected. From your story, you never explained to your mother everything else that had been happening that led up to this said incident. All you confessed to was attempting to kill Pip here. You never even mentioned how you stopped yourself, she pointed out. Because Mum wouldn't see it like that. Her instinct would be to keep Pip safe from whatever endangers her. In this case, would be me, Zipp answered. Yui Minifu hummed in concern as she jotted down more notes. I might have something that can help. She pulled out a card and handed it to Zipp. Give that to the local pharmacist. After our recent sessions, I feel some medicine might help with lowering your stress levels throughout the day. Medicine? Are you sure about this? Pip asked. I checked with the pharmacist himself, and we both agree that one pill before bed every night should help reduce Zipp's anxiety. Yui Minifu assured them before she looked at Zipp seriously. Oh, now she desperately means business. However, I need to emphasize that these pills are a treatment, not a cure, so please don't rely on them to make all the stress disappear. When you say something like that in a story, you just know that the protagonist is going to have an overdose. I shouldn't have to explain what the consequences might be if you overdose. Exactly. No, Doc, I got it. One pill a night, Zipp assured both the therapist and her sister, who she felt slightly tremble at the thought of her demise. Thank you, Yui Minifu smiled as the two sisters got up to head back home. They had to prepare for the afternoon's events. Their monthly brunch with their mother. Oh, now the drama's really going to start, I predict. Will we have like a dream scenario play out in real life? Let's find out. Under the normal circumstances, the two sisters would be excited for their monthly brunch, a tradition they had started since moving to Maritime Bay. It allowed for the whole royal family to catch up on what they've been doing and spend time together. But this time, they did not have normal circumstances. After weeks of Zipp struggling with her dark thoughts, followed by thoughts of self-loathing, the older Pegasus sister was still showing the results of her turmoil. While it wasn't at a concerning level, it was still very clear that Zipp had lost a noticeable amount of weight. And even though she was starting to eat more regularly again after her moment with Pip, the new stress she was feeling once again took her appetite away to the point she only ate one meal a day! Jesus Christ, Zipp, please! And that was without mentioning her obviously clipped wings. She didn't even have to look to know that whenever she was out, that ponies would stare and whisper possible theories on what happened to her. Zipp knew that it all be but impossible for her mother to not notice what had happened to her. Oh yeah, what on earth is going to happen when Haven sees those clipped wings? And when she did, she would ask what was wrong. Zipp wasn't a good enough liar to come up with a believable excuse. Her best option was to hide her injuries and hope to whoever that their mother didn't ask too many questions. That is how she found herself wearing the same cloak she wore when she and Pip pretended to be unicorns when they first went to Bridalwood. Oh yeah, I remember those cloaks, so it must have been one of those dark cloaks. The cloaks honestly did suit them in the movie. The anxiety she was currently feeling was eating away at her while she paced around the bedroom as Izzy watched her from atop her own bed. Zipperoni, I know you're concerned, but can you maybe tone it down with the pacing? Unless you've already eaten today, I don't think it should be burning calories. Zipp stopped her pacing and looked at the unicorn. I can't help it, Iz. Mum's going to be here soon, and I have to be able to pull this off without making her suspicious. If you're worried about looking suspicious, then why don't you just not attend brunch this time? Izzy asked. Because then Mum would know for sure that something's wrong with me, probably assuming I'm sick, which I might as well be, and then she would stay here until I got better, which then would lead her to finding out I nearly iced Pip, and oh, I like that adjective, iced, like in The Godfather. And then she'd take me back to Zephyr Heights to either be put in a mental institute or put on trial. Zipp ranted as her pacing resumed, now a steady trot. And I thought Pip was bad when it came to worrying. Izzy thought, now starting to get dizzy from watching Zipp moving in circles so quickly. At the same time, Pip and Sunny were having their own conversation regarding the Pegasus's concerns about today's brunch. You really think your mum will drag Zipp away when she finds out what happened? Sunny asked her worried friend. If Zipp doesn't tell her the full story, I fear that she might. I know Mother is a very understanding pony, but I worry that she might not be too understanding if all she gets from Zipp is, I tried to bump off my own sister. My phone is really struggling right now, but I'm still continuing on for you guys. Sunny looked like she was about to ask another question, but Pip knew what it was and stopped her. It's Zipp who needs to be the one to tell her. She'd never forgive me if I told Mother about her pain behind her back. This knowledge gave Sunny another question. And if your mum decides to ask you what's wrong with Zipp? I don't know, Pip answered truthfully. I'm afraid that when Mum asks, all I'll be able to say is that it's Zipp's story to tell, and that'll lead her to nagging Zipp about it until something bad happens. She sighed and looked at her phone, hoping to somewhat distract herself. I want Zipp to be able to help with Zipp's recovery, but I can't if she doesn't know that, and she won't ever know about it if Zipp is too afraid to tell, afraid of breaking her promise to me to tell her. Sunny nodded slowly in understanding. She knew that there wasn't much she could do in this situation. Pip was right. Zipp had to be the one to tell her mother about her corrupted thoughts and breakdown. All they really were able to do in this case was try and convince Zipp to tell Queen Haven the full truth. Yep, it's got to be all on Zipp's hoofs from now on, so Pip, you better not say a word. Speaking of the Queen, the Bright House doorbell rang, alerting everyone inside of the arrival of their royal guest. Zipp gave a long sigh as she went to answer the door. No turning back now, she told herself as she opened the door with Pip by her side. Upon seeing her daughters, Queen Haven pulled them into a massive hug. Oh my darlings, it's been too long since I've seen you, she said happily. It hasn't been that long, Mum, Zipp muttered. Speak for yourself, Haven said. I haven't heard a peep from you, Zipp, in weeks. Is there something going on with you, young filly? Already? No, try and delay it, Zipp. Zipp's eyes widened, though her mother didn't notice, not expecting that question to come up. She quickly broke off from the hug and stuttered out the first excuse she could think of. Oh, I've just been busy, you know, lots of detective work to do. Zipp cringed at Zipp's lie. Yes, oh god, yeah, that is not a very convincing lie. Not even a minute in, and already the thin ice her sister was standing on was starting to crack. Thankfully, Queen Haven seemed to either take the excuse or was distracted by what her daughter currently had on. And why are you wearing that cloak? Thankfully, Zipp did have a cover story for this. Oh, this? I thought I'd just wear this for the occasion, she answered. Queen Haven looked sternly at the nervous white Pegasus for a minute before she smiled. Well, it looks really good on you. Thanks, Mum, Zipp said while Pip quietly breathed one large sigh of relief. So, when are we going to eat today, Mother? Pip asked. Oh, I found this wonderful new place we should try out, Haven answered as she opened her wings and took to the sky. She expected her daughters to be following close behind, but was surprised when she turned around and saw only Pip had got off from the ground. Zipp hadn't even... Oh, no. Zipp hadn't even opened her wings up yet. Is there something wrong, Zipp? She asked her oldest daughter as she turned around and landed. Once again, Zipp was in trouble. There was no way she could let her mother know she was currently unable to fly. Oh, I just felt like walking there instead, she explained herself. Haven looked at her daughter with more skepticism, and that just made Zipp more nervous. Thankfully, she had Pip to come to the rescue. You know, she has a point. A little walk would be nice. Would it give us all time to catch up? The pink Pegasus said. Queen Haven's skeptic look disappeared and she nodded. Yes, I suppose we could walk there, she said as she turned around and led them to the restaurant on hoof now. With their mother's back turned, Zipp was able to whisper to Pip. Thank you. Just try not to bring any more attention onto yourself and we'll call it even, Pip replied as they followed their mother into town. Once the Royal Pegasus family arrived and got their meals, things seemed to go relatively smoothly. Zipp ate her meal a bit slower than normal, no doubt losing her appetite due to her constant worries, but Pip continued to keep their mother distracted by constantly talking about whatever, the older sister making sure to chime in every now and then to not stay completely quiet. It all seemed to be working out for Zipp, and it seemed she was going to make it through this brunch without any issues whatsoever. Come next month, her feathers would have grown back, and she wouldn't have to worry about her mother ever finding out about what she did. Pip had just finished talking about her latest single when she excused herself to use the bathroom, leaving her mother and Zipp alone at the table. Not expecting any conversation to happen, Zipp continued on eating her meal, now picking up the pace to her usual speed without any worries weighing them down. But then Queen Haven had other plans. Alright, Zipp, now that we are alone, let's talk. Zipp nearly choked on her fries. Talk? About what? She hastily asked. About what you're hiding from me, young filly! No! I'm not hiding anything, Zipp tried to convince her otherwise. It obviously didn't work as her mother began listing all of the strange behaviors she had seen in the past hour. Your nervous attitude, not speaking to me in weeks, suddenly wearing a cloak, refusing to fly. I'm not oblivious to what's going on around me, Sifferina. It was at that moment that Pip had come out of the bathroom. When she saw the looks on her mother and sister's faces, she immediately regretted leaving. Oh no, she said quietly as she ran over to defuse the situation. Back at the table, Zipp tried a different strategy to make her mother back off. I'm not a fool, Mom. You don't need to know every single thing I'm doing. While it is true I do respect your privacy, as your mother, I make it my business to know when something is troubling either one of my little fillies, Haven retorted. Zipp was feeling like she was trapped in a corner at this point. Zipp made it to the table and tried to break up the potential argument. Hey, every pony, why don't we just... She didn't get to finish as her mother blocked her face with a wing. Oh my god, that's kind of rude, Haven. God damn, don't block your daughter off like that. Not now, Pip, Haven told her youngest without taking her eyes off her oldest. Sifferina Storm, I have had just about enough of this fooling around. There was something that happened recently that I don't know about, and as your mother, I demand to know what it was, she yelled as she stumped her hoof on the table. That seemed to be the last straw for Zipp, as her look now changed from panic to dark and serious. You really want to know what's been going on with me? She daringly asked her mother. Oh no, Pip whispered as Zipp got up from her seat and grabbed her cloak. Better drink again before the flames dry up my throat. Before Pip had even a chance to stop her, the older Pegasus sister ripped the cloak from her body, completely revealing herself as she flared her wings to make sure her mother saw everything. Queen Haven gasped in horror when she saw her daughter's wings. By now, there were tiny feathers growing in the place of the old ones plucked, but they were still nowhere near the point they could be used for flight. Zipp! How did this happen? She stammered out. Zipp looked at her sister with pleading eyes, afraid for what she was about to say next. But Zipp either didn't notice or ignored them. "I did it!" she screamed at her mother. If Haven wasn't speechless before, she definitely was now. Why would you do that to yourself?" she asked much quieter now. But Zipp didn't lower her voice as tears started to fall down her eyes. Oh god, no. "Because I'm sick in the head and I constantly keep thinking about killing my sister! That's why!" she yelled before she ran out of the restaurant in tears. "Zipp!" Pip cried out to her sister, but to no avail. She was about to fly after her, but her mother stopped herself with a question she did not want to answer. "Pip? Is what she said true?" Her shaky tone telling Pip that she desperately wanted to be told that she was wrong, that this was all some sort of sick joke, that this was nothing more than a nightmare that she'd soon wake up from. Pip felt mixed emotions right now. She was mad at her mother for pushing Zipp into confessing, but she knew it wasn't fair to just blame her. She didn't know what was going on with Zipp. "There's more to it than what she said, but it's true," she revealed to her mother before she flew out the windows and after her sister. She expected their mother to be too stunned by the news to follow after her, but she soon heard the sounds of a Pegasus following after her and turned around to see Queen Haven's worried face. "Where's she going?" she asked. "If we're lucky, back to the Bright House to pack," Pip answered before she and Queen Haven picked up the pace, hoping to arrive at the Bright House before Zipp. Unfortunately, when they arrived, they saw Sunny, Izzy and Hitch in the living room with worried looks on their faces. They let them know that Zipp had already made it back before them. Jeez, Zipp is a very fast runner. Congrats, Zipp, I suppose. Once they saw the Queen enter, the three friends immediately ran over to the Royal Pegasi. "Your Majesty, I know what it sounds like, but please let us explain." "Zipp isn't a bad pony. She's just really lost and confused right now. Please don't send her away. She needs us. All of us," Pip added as she stood by her friends. Queen Haven was no doubt touched by the loyalty of Zipp's friends were displaying, but she was still very confused by everything that had just happened and needed more information. Information from the source. Oh, I love that piece of dialogue there. That's very clever. "I need to speak with her alone," she told them, sounding serious, but making sure not to look unsympathetic. While none of the four younger ponies couldn't say they didn't want this to happen, they didn't want it to happen in these circumstances. But, Mom!" Pip pleaded. "I need to know what happened from her," Queen Haven said as she walked upstairs to the bedroom, but not before casting the worried friends an assured look, letting them know she would take their worries into consideration. However, this did not ease their worries as the four of them waited downstairs with bated breath. Oh boy, now it's time for Zipp and Haven to... Oh god, what is going to happen? Zipp has attempted to start packing up her things, but she just couldn't finish the task. She was too distraught right now. That was how Queen Haven found her, collapsed on her bed and crying into a pillow. "Zipp?" she quietly called out to her daughter. Zipp didn't respond, but the twitch of her ears let Haven know that she had been heard. Always spotted by the tricky ears, they're being floppy.
"Hey, Queen Haven, she's over here!"
The Pegasus mother walked over to her daughter's bed and sat down next to her. With a hoof placed on her back, Zipp finally spoke. "I'm sorry," she said through tears. "I know you're probably disgusted with me right now, thinking that you failed as a... Wait, I should get a pillow for this or something, because, you know, she's underneath the covers. This way, it'll be more realistic." "I know you're probably disgusted with me right now, thinking that you failed as a mother, failed to have such a race of criminal, but it wasn't your fault. You were a wonderful mother. It's all my fault. It gets taken such long revenge. The one who put everybody else down to, the one who..." Just like when she broke down in the cave, the last thing she expected was her mother to pull her into a hug. "This is so good!" "Shh," she quietly said to her daughter. "Zipp, I'm sorry for pushing you into this. As your mother, I worry about your safety, and I love you no matter what. So please, tell me what happened and don't leave anything out. And that's exactly what Zipp did. In her mother's hoofs, she told her everything that had been going on. From her corruption to her darkened thoughts about becoming queen and the Unity Crystals, her strong advances on Hitch. Yeah, I'm wondering something, FLUFFBUTTS. Why hasn't Hitch had an appearance in this fanfic for such a long time? I know it's all focused on the girls and stuff, but come on, writer. Where is Hitch in this story? Where's his inclusion? Her almost strangling Pip, her self-exile, her clipping her own wings, her friends finding her and being told everything in the cave, her new nightmares, her second attempt at running away, her therapy sessions, everything. When she was done, she went back to sobbing into her mother's coat. I didn't tell you everything because I knew you'd be disappointed in me. You sent me back to Silver Heights or to be locked up or banished, and I couldn't face that. Not after the promise I made to split with my friends. Shush. Haven comforted her daughter again, now beginning to gently rock herself like a cradle. My sweet... This is immensely sweet. I think I might actually start crying. Fucking hell. My sweet baby girl, don't cry. It's okay. I don't want to continue. It's okay. Mommy's here now, and she still loves you. She said through soft tears of her own, even if it wasn't her fault in any way. She felt guilty for not being there for Zipp, to not be there for her daughter to lean on, and instead coming off as an obstacle in her recovery. Mother and daughter remained like that until Zipp's crying stopped and was replaced by the soft breathing of a sleeping pony. Still, Queen Haven did not let her go. Mummy's here. I really want to throw something across the room and... When Zipp finally woke up, she found herself surrounded by her friends and family, each with gentle smiles. Are you feeling better now, dear? Queen Haven asked her daughter. A little, Zipp admitted before frowning. Mother, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. You didn't want to abandon your friends or sister. Haven finished for her daughter. When Zipp looked down in shame, she pulled her into another hug. Oh, my sweet Zephyrina. Never be afraid to tell me when something is bothering you. I know we've had issues in the past, but I will always be there to support you and help you through your struggles. They stayed like that for a while before Haven spoke up. Listen, Zipp, after hearing all you've been through, I'm fighting the urge right now to carry you back home with me, so I'd never let you out of my sight. But I know that you have ponies who care about you, who love you and only want the best for you, just like me. Zipp looked up at her mother with hopeful eyes. You mean? Haven nodded. You can stay here in Maritime Bay, she told herself before getting hugged by now both of her daughters. Thank you, Mom, they both said together. You're very welcome, my dears, Haven said as she broke the hug. She then looked at Zipp with a very serious expression on her face. Oh, shit, okay. There is still one condition you must abide by, Zipp. Yes, Mom? Zipp asked with a confused and somewhat worried look on her face. I want no more of this hiding information from me. From now on, I'm expecting regular reports from you about everything, especially your therapy sessions. Do we have an understanding? Zipp nodded. Yes, Mum, I promise. Haven smiled and pulled her daughters back in for another hug. Yeah! This is brilliant! Best chapter so far, best chapter. Forgiveness is something that's not easily given. For Zipp, it's especially hard to feel earned. However, even if she still has issues coming to terms with it herself, the reminder that there are those who love her regardless will help her move just one more step forward every day. Oh my goodness me. Oh, absolutely masterful, masterpiece, masterclass. That was stunning. These 3 chapters were the best ones at the moment. I know there's still plenty more chapters that I'll be commissioned to read, but still, what I have read so far is just sparkling in the descriptions and the character details and everything else. Oh my god, I can't stand it. It's brilliant. The start with the therapy sessions and stuff, that was pretty good. Until the middle chapter with the scene with Sunny encouraging Zipp so much. Like, you will say this to the mirror's face. Yes, I will do this. I'm not you and such. That was just comedic gold, even though it was emotionally and like wholesome. But then this final chapter, A Mother's Love. Best chapter of the lot so far. Fucking hell. I really wish this was a scene in the actual show, because, oh my god, that would have broken my heart. Probably even more than Misty reuniting with Alphabeetle. Fucking hell, it was just gorgeous. I think that is an appropriate time to stop for this one. 3 chapters in one, and I'm out of water now, so my throat needs to relax. So I will see you all next time for how many chapters I get into next. I'm really seriously enjoying this fanfiction, so keep up the good work, writer. You're doing great. So, FLUFFBUTTS, don't forget to smash that like button down below, and comment your thoughts on what you thought about this fanfic as well, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this coming soon. And also, don't forget to leave a pledge on my Patreon page down in the description below, so you can help support me in making these fantastic videos more consistently. And now I just need to have a good old sob from this chapter. See ya! And just before this video ends, I want to give a huge thank you to all my patrons on my Patreon. My Silver FLUFFBUTT patrons, Sabrina Wade, Drew Lazinski, and Alex Smith, and all my Gold FLUFFBUTT patrons, Jack Leichter, Clear Heart Apple, Owen Wildish, Jonathan Chapper, Darthsiler22, and KikiBat VA. All of your love and support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.